What's up, manga fans, and welcome back to another review of Bleach. This week's chapter 643, Baby Hold Your Hand 6, Waiting for Love. First thing, I want to apologize for today's recording, probably looking quite sloppy. I'm recording off my phone because I'm not actually at home. I don't have any recording equipment on me apart from my phone. So, this is what I have to make do with for now. But I just couldn't wait until I got home. I just wanted to review this now because it was just such a great chapter, and I'm probably not going to be back till like sometime in the night. So here it is. And funny thing is, that moment when you find out your camera quality on your phone is actually better than on your laptop. So yeah, not really much of a loss other than my arm getting tired. So on to the chapter. I enjoyed it. It was different from how I thought it was going to be, but it was roughly the same as how I predicted it. I mean, we got what we expected, the unfortunate Nemu's death. But the way it played out was a lot more abrupt and quicker than I thought it was. And when I first read it, I was kind of disappointed. I was like, wait, that was it. But when I read it again, I kind of understood what Kubo was trying to portray. He wanted it to be quick because he wanted it to be shocking. He wanted it to be, dramatic. And it wasn't just to affect us as the readers, it was to affect Mayuri to make him realize, like, this has happened. You know, Nemu's died. Your smug, arrogant attitude, scientists always knowing what to do, having a backup plan. This is the one time we see him actually shocked, lost for words, and if I can actually safely say, in despair. In as I said, because we see it at the when Nemu uses her attack, Pernida is completely blown to bits. The pieces of the clones all reform like eyes all over them, and then pierce her with their nerves, and she's shredded to pieces. So we're kind of as shocked as Mayuri is, and he's literally in a state of shock, saying this is impossible. And in his inner thoughts, we're actually greeted with a old foe from his past. And remember when I said this fight reminds me of Sazel Part 2? Well, the guy himself, Sazel, actually shows up. And I think he was used very well. I think he represents Mayuri's kind of contradiction with himself in the past, where he was like a scientist, should never care about perfection. Perfection is meaningless to a scientist because they should always be pursuing something better and always have an answer to prove something's not perfect. I detest perfection. So for Cezelle to come up and mock him about this is literally contradicting, as I said, the speech he used before. He's in despair, he's hopeless, and he believed that Nemu was perfect. He treasured his daughter. He believed her to be perfect. So to see her torn to shreds in front of his own very own eyes, must have completely put a blow in his ego, and obviously, hurt his psyche and upset him because I can tell he loved his daughter. I'm gonna straight up say it. And Giselle really was like, kind of hitting the marker when he was like, "Oh, but her death is good." Remember, you said I detest perfection, so this proves she was imperfect. That means you can just make a better model of or person from this. You've learned from this, and now you can make something better. And he really, really kind of like like communicates for us. Mayuri's not going to say it himself, so Cezelle is going to say it for us. You're alone, you're helpless without your bag of tricks, and your conceited, smug attitude is gone. It's been smashed by this weird hand. Peninda's just lurking in the background as well. And your precious meat bag, as he says, but in my thought, I'll say his precious daughter is dead. So you would think that would be the turning point where, yep, that's it for Mayuri. But instead, he grabs the vision of Cezelle and says, "You know what? This is funny. You were completely right. But it's funny that of all people to mark out my mistakes, it was you." And then it's like he closes his hand and makes him disappear, so the vision is gone. And this is when things get serious, and you can tell Mayuri is pissed. He's angry. And when the remaining two clothes crash down onto the rooftop, he's so nonchalant and stoic with his approach. He's just like calmly saying, "Oh, you're here to finish off the rest of Nemu." He's like, "Go ahead then." It's like, "Eat the rest of it. Gorge until you're satisfied." And but he quickly grabs the brain for himself, and he's like, "But I'm taking this." And then the clone attempts to send its nerves into Mayuri, but he resists it with Ryatsu. And this is weird because we never see him do anything like this. It's always science, but for once he's using Shinigami, raw power and techniques. And he's like, don't waste your time on me. He's like, come on, hurry up, eat the rest of Nemu. It's like, if you don't hurry up and finish it, you will die before you get the chance to eat it. And this is when we see Peninda's finger start to enlarge, one of the clones, sorry, and the other one follows suit and it's screaming out like, what's happening? And this is when Mayuri is just calmly looking at him like, oh, it's like, you, what was it? That was it, sorry. I'm forgetting. He explains that Nemu's regeneration cells basically is something he replaced with these cells that multiply at a much higher speed than usual. So he basically did an experiment on Nemu. It's like he always has a ace in the hole. He gave Nemu these regenerative cells that just multiply at a really high speed. And he explains that these are controlled by the brain alone. So they literally can divide and multiply over and over again. He wanted to see how this would work. And now without the brain, it literally means that there'll be nothing to control it. It will go completely out of control, like just keep developing, growing, or expanding and regenerating. And this is inside the clone now of Peninda. So he's like, yeah, eat it up and die. That's you can tell that's literally what he wants to say. And the clone is literally expanding and becoming bloated. It's deforming, and its tissue is literally being torn like further and further apart. And this is thanks to, Nemu's regenerative cells. So it's like it was a kind of like what I said last week. It was a sacrifice on Nemu's part, even though it wasn't really her who did it. It was, as usual, Mayuri with his ace in the hole. He's always somewhat prepared. And even though, obviously, I didn't like seeing stuff like this again, I find it hilarious, obviously, because it's Mayuri. He's always prepared. But I thought it was going to be a different, like, Nemu kills Peninda and then she sacrifices herself, or Mayuri kills him like with a usual kind of something different, like he uses his Shizanbakuto or something else. But this way, I still liked it. I enjoyed it because he's angry. Even though it kind of seems like it was an arse pull, it kind of just fits with the scenario because obviously Nemu is dead. He's angry. He's like, fine, you want to eat my daughter? I'm gonna make sure her death will take you down too. Um, so it was brilliant in my opinion. I think it worked really well. And as I said, Mayuri was angry. He was at the loss of his daughter, and now we just have to see how the rest of this battle is going to play out. So at this point, we have Nemu's death, but is it really her death? Because Mayuri has secured her brain. So maybe we could somehow see a rebirth of her later in the series, or she might rebirth from this successive generation, but that seems very unlikely. But I wouldn't mind seeing a Nomori Nanago 8.0, preferably one with all the memories intact. But we could also have a scenario where she's really gone and Mayuri just keeps her brain secure and safe and precious like a memorial, like like a shrine, and he keeps it to himself. But obviously he's not gonna say the real reason for keeping it. He's like, oh, it's for research, but he just keeps it because he wants to remember his daughter. Or he could revive a new Nemu 8.0 without any of the former's memories, and that would just be like, complete angst. So yeah, that's literally what I can think about. I just, as I said, the chapter was quick and shocking, so there's really no way to go about it other than yeah, Nemu died, but it was so quick and abrupt, and it was literally like it just seemed like I don't know how to explain it other than abrupt. It was so quick, so shocking, and as I said, I think seeing it through Mayuri and his expressions probably fit the ball well. But I think the one last overarching question about this fight is Peninda really dead? We know Kubo's a troll. He gives these red herrings and loves them a lot. So it could be possible Peninda survives and Mayuri's life could still be in danger, or Peninda actually does die and that's it. So we'll literally just have to wait and see next time. So but as I said, other than that, it was an enjoyable chapter. I thought it was dramatic in terms of how quick Nemu died. I enjoyed Mayuri's inner monologue. We actually see the guy has feelings more so than before, and he was angry over his daughter's death, and he took down Pernida in the most sadistic and painful manner. And Cezelle appearing again was a brilliant cameo appearance. because, as I said, it kind of obviously contradicted with the Mayuri in the past that we thought of and the current Mayuri now. And it's funny because all the Bleach characters we kind of assumed that were bad, like Soifon, a lot of people thought she was a horrible woman or girl, a bitch, as people like to say. She wasn't. Mayuri, apparently, even though he's sadistic, isn't as bad as we thought, and maybe we're going to find out even more from other characters. So, as I said, yeah, Bleach is impressing me, and I just want to see more of this. So, until the next chapter. Other than that, you guys know the usual. If you've got anything to tell, opinions, anything, leave them in the comment box below. And I'll speak to you guys next time. Take care.